This is a great week because on Saturday, Stew Morrill, Aggie great, amazing coach, is going to get his name emblazoned on the court. He will be immortalized and recognized for his years of success at Utah State University. So one of the things we wanted to do this week is catch up with some of those former players who played under Stew Morrill to share some of their thoughts, their memories, their reactions to the announcement. And we had Spencer Nelson on last hour, and now we have the opportunity to speak with another Aggie great, Durrall Peterson, who played in 2005, 2006, all the way to 2007. He joins us now on the Full Court Press. Durrall, thanks for joining us today. Looks like it's not connecting here. Let me try one more time. Jason,
what do we do? Okay.
Oh no, I can hear you. My bad. I was on mute. Can you hear me now?
Now there you are. Okay.
Okay.
my bad. How you guys doing tonight?
We're doing great.
Y'all, huh? Day for y'all.
You're making me nervous. No, we're good. We're good. Thanks for connecting with us. Now, so you played at a junior college, and I want to start there. You were playing at a junior college level. And then you start to get noticed by Division I coaches and have an opportunity to take your game to a higher level. What was it that enticed you to choose Utah State and go play for Stew Morrill?
It had to have been the crowd. I remember the first time I came out, because I was actually committed to Auburn from junior college first. And then I had to come out of my commitment because they had a medical red shirt come, and that took the scholarship away. So right before the signing period ended, because I went to Hutchinson Junior College, which is where Coach Durrall, I know you guys remember Coach Durrall.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Coach Durrall used to be the head coach there. So he came back just to check on the school and happened to see me in the coaching office, asked how I was doing, and I said, I'm undecided. And he was like, what you mean? I'm like, well, I had to come out my commitment. So I ended up, he put me on the first class flight right then. I literally left the next day, got to Utah State, and was blown away. I'm an East Coast kid. I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina. So the snow and the mountains was breathtaking to me. And then we got on campus. I got to the gym. I started seeing the fact that we sell out almost every game, that it was the crowd really blew me away. So I canceled all the other visits I had, and I decided to come right then.
So what was you talk about the moment you obviously first experienced Utah State, but tell us about your first moment encountering Stew Morrill and just like what was like meeting with him and I guess first impressions, obviously when he first became your coach and what that was like for you.
So I'm a huge fan of Coach Morrill, right? Like I am one of his biggest fans. I love the guy. He was a gentle giant, what I used to call him, because I didn't know he was going to be so tall. When I first met him, Coach doesn't say much, right? So Coach is he's going to tell you how he feels and what he says, and then he kind of lets you do the talking. And we kind of vibed from the moment I stepped on campus. Then he came and visited my house with my parents, and my mom is hard. Okay, my mom was hard back then. She's a little softer now, but back then she was real hard on the coaches, and she fell in love with Coach too. So once my mom was intact, my pops was intact. It was all ready to go. And Coach, gentle giant, man. That's what I like to call him, the gentle giant.
Durrall, you came into, as you said, when you made your visit, you came into something that already had some momentum behind it. Utah State was already performing at a very high level, huge crowds. I mean, it was the game in town. It was the ticket to go see Utah State basketball. Great string of success. What was that like as a player to try to maintain that, or was it just because it was so exciting and so fun and competing at a high level that really wasn't that hard?
It wasn't. It wasn't hard at all, to be honest with you. The level of play. If I was the Mr. Let's Go player anyways. I'm the hype man, full of energy. Crowds really get me going. I loved every home game. I can tell you this. It was harder playing on the road because you don't have the crowds that we got at home. And it just was a little bit harder to get up for the games when you don't have that crowd that you normally are used to. And the other schools, they didn't really have the courts and the gyms were always with good capacities and good crowds. But you know how Utah State is. We've got the pit, right? So everything is, all the noise goes right to the court, and it just made it so much fun. It made it much better. The Tuesdays and Saturday nights were always easy to get up for.
So I got to ask, with all this talking about the Spectrum, like, you have a favorite moment in the Spectrum, or like the moment that it got the loudest, at least from your perception? Just what was the biggest moment for you in the Spectrum?
So it's hard to pick one moment because there were so many. I can give you a couple. I remember BYU. When we played BYU, obviously, anytime you got the in-state rivalry coming in, I was actually on Facebook telling the guy today, because where I'm from, everybody talks Duke, Carolina, and I just will put up Utah State, BYU, or Utah State, Utah against any rivalry in the country. I don't care if it's USC, UCLA, it doesn't matter to me. I just think that any home game playing against one of the rivalries is always going to be tough. So the home game against BYU was, I remember my ears ringing after the game. When we would get back to the locker room, your ears are still ringing. You can still hear just the noise from the court. The Utah game, obviously, when because we had a lot of buzzer beaters. Shout out to Chad Spicer. He connected on a lot of buzzer beaters. So one of the buzzer beaters against Utah at home, I still go back and look at that one online on YouTube because I ran over and gave him a big hug, man. And so that was a big one. I remember the bracket buster game against Northwestern State was crazy. And especially where I didn't think our crowd knew much about them, and it didn't matter, man. They showed up and showed out. Oral Roberts. It was so many games. I really, it's so hard to pick out just one or two of them.
I'm going to ask you the same question, but in regards to Stew Morrill, just your memories of being with him, if there's a particular game or locker room discussion or an event at a practice that maybe, a lot of us normal fans or people around the community would not have seen or experienced.
Yeah, so Coach, even though I call him the gentle giant, he has a ton of jokes, right? Like, Coach's sense of humor oversees his personality, right? Because he really will crack jokes. And we were used to him being very serious, but also used to him cracking jokes. And there was one time that I can remember. It was after the Nevada game. We actually lost at home. This would have been my junior year when they had Nick Fazekas, Sean Kemp's son, Marcus Kemp, Ramon Sessions that played for the Lakers. They were pretty stacked that year. And when they played us at home, we lost, right? So the next day, Coach called in a film session. No practice, just film. And when we got in, we sat down. He literally took the game film and slammed it down on the ground. I'm talking about 100. Remember, this is back there. I played a little while ago, so this was when the VHS was still going. And 1,000 pieces of the VHS on the ground. And he said, "Forget about the game. It's over with. We're moving on." And that was a little different because Coach was a big time film guy. Like we watched film every day, every practice. We're tons of film, and for him to smash the tape just was a different session, and we just moved on from there.
So I want to ask, because obviously we're as time moves on, we get further and further away from from Stew Morrill's, coaching tenure. Just want to ask, what do you want people to remember, not only about Stew Morrill, but about the teams that you played on, what you want those teams and what Coach Morrill should be remembered for?
Coach is a winner, right? I mean, he's top 60 all time in coaches in the NCAA, right? I always find loyalty hard to find, especially these days. Loyalty is not nowhere around. But to spend as amount of time, I think it was 15 years at Utah State. That's not that most people use Utah State. You would think as almost like a stepping stone, right? Because we're good enough. We have 10 to 12, 13 straight 20-win seasons, almost 20 postseason straight. I mean, Coach is a winner. Coach won, and he figured out how to win. I watched the end of his coaching, and I noticed that people were calling him kind of outdated, which I'm not saying that he wasn't, but one thing that I know is if anybody knows dribble left and dribble right, that play will never, ever, ever, ever be stopped. And that is a play that Coach, I don't want to say invented because he'll kill me for saying he invented it, but if anything else, he's the person who made that play used around the country. If you watch basketball, you'll see a lot of coaches' plays replayed in every system. It was a very difficult system to learn. We had over 170 plays. And I don't know if people really know that, right? We had to look at the plays from the cards, and for Coach to be able to run a system the way he did and a formula the way he did, you know the sayings, if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. So I want people to remember that Coach was a winner. He won a lot. He transformed the junior college to D1 because I felt like that's what he was, right? Coach was junior college transfer to D1 at Gonzaga. So I felt like he put a system in place where the kids from high school would go on their missions for 2 years, and then he would bring in junior college transfers for 2 years, and they would just swap out. And I thought he did a really good job of bringing in a lot of talent. I mean, think about all the players that played for Coach Morrill. I mean, the best player in Utah State history, in my book, and I'm sure that he'll be crowned that very soon, is J.C. Carroll, right? And he played on my team. I played it with him for 2 years. And I think the leading assist leader is Chris Clark, which played on my team as well. And we didn't win the WAC. We didn't win either year, right? We ended up second both years. And the year after that, he won. So I just want people to remember him for winning, because I know as you get older and time goes on, people want to push people out. They want new things, but I just want people to always remember Coach was a winner.
We're talking to Durrall Peterson, former Aggie great, played on Utah State basketball teams from 2005 to 2006, and then 2006-2007 seasons. And Durrall, when you and I were communicating earlier today, lining up this interview, you mentioned to me that you're going to be here this weekend. You're going to be here for this special court ceremony.
That's for sure. I wouldn't miss this in the world, right? Because for one, I think that, I would love to hear y'all's response on this, but I don't know if this will happen again, right? Winning, Coach being the all-time leading wins at Utah State in the history, I don't think anybody will surpass his wins. And if they do, it won't be in my lifetime. So I wanted to make sure that I was out there for that. I wanted to make sure that I showed up for Coach, because I've been very successful after basketball without basketball. I manage music artists. I run music labels. I have a film company. I have a magazine. I was invited to walk the red carpet to the Grammys last year. I've done a lot that does not pertain or doesn't have anything to do with basketball. And I think a lot of that has to do with Coach, because that was one thing that he always told us is, you're going to be good in basketball, but you're going to be better in life. And that was one thing that I know I took and I ran with. So, I wouldn't miss it in the world for the world. It's a lot of things going on in the world today, and I think everybody should see what's going on. I'm bringing my cameras too, man. I've got to make sure that I show everybody what this experience looks like.
Yes, awesome. And then my last question for you is, who are you, besides Coach Morrill, who are you looking forward to seeing the most on Saturday? Because I know a lot of former Aggies are coming together for this event.
For sure. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Coach number one. We got to make sure to say that. But JC Carroll, I haven't seen him since I haven't played. I would love to talk with him, get that on camera, and talk about some of the success he's had. B-Rock, I know y'all remember Bernard Rock, that played on the only team, I think it was, that has won an NCAA game from under Stew Morrill. So he'll be out there. I can't wait to see him. Cardell Butler. It really is a lot of people that I can't wait to see, but I'm going to give those names out right now. And I can't forget about Doug, man. We got to show some love to some of the people that were very instrumental in basketball, but people don't know about. Doug is the media guy, and because I'm in media now, I took a lot from what I learned, at my time at Utah State. So I want to shout out to Doug Hoffman and everybody else that has anything to do with Utah State and Utah State basketball.
Durrall, it's going to be fun to see you and the other Aggie greats on the court or in the arena supporting and celebrating the tremendous success and career of Stew Morrill. Thank you so much for spending some time with us and sharing some of your memories.
That's no problem. I appreciate y'all for having me, and go Aggies.
Very good. Very appropriate.